It's a big win for the fight for clean air in Delhi. The Supreme Court has ordered a ban on the sale of firecrackers in Delhi and the National Capital Region as a whole to control pollution, which rose to dangerous levels post-Diwali. The Apex Court ruled that no fresh licenses will be given to sell firecrackers and there shall be no renewal as well until further orders. The Supreme Court also directed the Central Pollution Control Board, or the CPCB, to study the harmful effects of the materials used in the manufacturing of firecrackers. The Supreme Court also asked CPCB to then submit a report within 3 months, and my colleague Deepa Rana gets us this detailed report. Take a look.
In order to curb the rising air pollution levels in the Delhi-NCR region, the Supreme Court has ordered a ban on the sale of firecrackers and also has ordered cancellation of licenses for the firecrackers. This move comes in after environmentalists approached the Supreme Court and asked for its intervention to ban firecrackers. The ban is going to be enforced from today until further orders by the Apex Court. In fact, the Supreme Court has also asked the Central Pollution Control Board to submit a reply on the harmful materials used in the firecrackers in a period of 3 months. Remember that in the month of October and November, Delhi-NCR saw the worst smog due to air pollution. The prime reasons contributing to air pollution were burning of the paddy as well as firecrackers. In fact, Delhi was one of the most polluted cities in the world, with the pollution levels rising up to 17 times more than the permissible limit. Even as we speak, on Friday, according to the official data, the air quality currently in Delhi is at 150 mark. On Thursday, it was at 160 mark. Anything above 50 is considered to be harmful. Therefore, environmentalists feel that this move will surely help in curbing down the rising air pollution levels in Delhi.
And to take that story forward, we're now being joined on the big story by Anirudh Suri, Managing Director, India Internet, and one of the petitioners in the PIL against the firecrackers. Mr. Suri, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here in the big story on Magic Bricks. Now, first up, a big congratulations for the order that has come in from the Supreme Court. Your thoughts at this point in time?
No, we are obviously very delighted. The fact that the Supreme Court has taken cognizance of the seriousness of this matter. In previous years, similar matters had come up before the court, and the court had stopped short of banning or restricting the sale of firecrackers. So we are obviously delighted that this year, things had gotten so bad that the Supreme Court finally took cognizance of the matter and has restricted the use of the sale of firecrackers in the Delhi-NCR region, which I think is a big positive step in the right direction. Obviously, it's just the first step, I think, in the overall fight against air pollution that we all Delhiites have a responsibility to keep fighting for. But I think it's a very good first step. So very happy to note the court's decision today.
Right, Mr. Suri, it is a step number one, but I wanted to understand, your motive behind filing this particular public interest litigation. Where from here on, now that this order is coming from the Supreme Court?
The motives were very clear for us. My family, the pollution was just getting so bad on different levels. I have a newborn, my wife and I have a newborn baby who's about a month and a half old now. But in the days before Diwali, he was just a couple of weeks old, and we had started to see how she was having difficulty in breathing. And our doctors also advised us to leave the city for a few days, given the pollution levels around Diwali get so severe. When we were forced to leave the city and be in a situation where the life and the health of our child and ourselves was being affected to this point where we were really scared for our lives, I believe that, along with my brother Shikil Suri, who's a lawyer in the Supreme Court, we decided to file this PIL because we were left with no resort, seeing the lack of any action, any serious concerted action on the part of the government. And even sometimes, to be honest, to be fair, some of our fellow citizens who were not realizing the harmful effects of the firecrackers on the lives of not just infants and old people, but just all of us.
All right, Mr. Suri, just hold on because we do have another voice with us, environmentalist Anumita Roy Chaudhary on the matter. Let's listen to what she had to say.
We are waiting for the exact wording of it, but the fact that this decision has been taken is something that we're very worried about, especially during winter months, and you've just come out one of the most horrible smog possible. And during that kind of, when the city becomes a gas chamber, if just for fun we decide to burn firecrackers which add such enormously toxic pollutants to our air, which are carcinogen, cause all kind of diseases, it's just not acceptable. So therefore today, and in fact the other issue that the Supreme Court heard today is about the graded response to different level of pollution. And Central Pollution Control Board has actually come up with a very good proposal that what kind of response we should have at different level of pollution. Now that does not give you any scope of burning firecrackers.
Just wanted to check in with you, Mr. Suri. She is talking about the Central Pollution Control Board and them having a plan. I wanted to understand your thoughts on the CPCB and its plans.
Sure. So we had a very productive meeting, I believe, with the CPCB chairman and other members of CPCB, as well as other representatives of different authorities that are involved in the pollution problem last week. Where we shared, a bunch of us, some petitioners and even other concerned citizens. All of those inputs have been incorporated in the plan. To be honest, we are still reviewing. It's an extensive plan, so we're also reviewing it to see where there might still be any loopholes, if at all. And the key thing with any plan, as you can imagine, that we come up with, or any public authority in India comes up with, as we all know, is that of execution and implementation. So one of our key suggestions, even in the meeting with CPCB last week, had been that for every action step that we are defining in this plan, let's have a very clear person from any given authority, relevant authority, be in charge of that action. And their phone numbers and their email addresses and their office addresses be clearly shared with all citizens, so that whoever is responsible for a certain action step and is failing to execute on that, no matter how important that person might be in his position, the citizens should be in a position to represent their concerns to them and hold them accountable. I think often the government ends up being a big black box where citizens don't really know where or who to air their concerns with. And so one of the key things for this plan will be to have clear accountability set up for who specifically, which person specifically is accountable for which part of the action plan.
Also, Mr. Suri, one last thing before we let go of you. I want to understand that, one is that right now the licenses have been banned and there's no renewal as well. But are we talking about a complete ban on firecrackers in the National Capital Region, or probably an alternate venue which, the public can use for those who are interested?
No, the Supreme Court was very clear that they want to restrict firecrackers as a whole in the Delhi-NCR region. The problem is severe enough that even a public display or anything of that sort, which have been suggested in the past as potential alternative solutions, they were very clear that none of this would really be acceptable to our citizens of this, of the region, because even if you find that, they're being publicly displayed, the message that we are sending to even the next generation, the children, is that this is something that we believe is acceptable. Whereas I am of the opinion that firecrackers as a whole should be very clearly, demonstrated to be something unacceptable in our society, given the level of pollution we are living in and the harmful effects it's having on all of us. So I think it has to be, and I think the court agreed with that view.
All right, Mr. Suri, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us here on The Big Story and sharing your thoughts, and congratulations on your big win at the Supreme Court.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/magicbricksnow. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at magicbricksnow. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/magicbricksnow.